Welcome to another card class. Today we are going to work on paper layering. So using up some decorative cardstock and plain cardstock as our bases. So we're going to create two 6-inch by 12-inch card bases and then scoring those at 6 inches. I've used black cardstock as my base, so I've cut out of white cardstock some inserts to add on to my cards at 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. Once you have scored your card bases and added your inserts if you were using them, we are going to cut our decorative cardstock. So we're going to use any cardstock is going to work for this, and it's up to you what you want to use. I've used the Mintay Nightfall collection, which is a beautiful new collection by Mintay, beautiful colours and works well with the black card base. But this is something that you can use whatever cardstock you have, and even scrap bits of cardstock you have in your stash to create these beautiful cards. Adding some double-sided tape to the inserts for the inside of the cards. Now, if you prefer using glue or using a tape runner, that is totally fine as well. So whatever you have access to, whatever your go-to adhesive to adhere the cardstock. If you are using glue, you don't want to use too much so the cardstock doesn't buckle. Adding those to the inside of our cards just makes it easy to write on. You don't even have to use an insert too, like if you have a white gel pen to write your message on the inside of the card, that will work as well. Or you could adhere just a thin paper insert that can be easily removed as well. Lots of different options for the inside of the cards. So to create the layers, I have just grabbed lots of different pieces of the Nightfall cardstock that I had left in my stash. And we're going to cut different layers to add on to our cardstock. So I just had to play around with the way I wanted it to look before I decided on the way I wanted it to be. It's good fun to just audition your pieces, figure out what's going to work for you and how it ends up looking maybe completely different to what you had started out with. So to create the base for the decorative cardstock, I've cut 2 panels each from the 3 different pieces of cardstock at 2.5 inches by 5 7/8. Because I was doing the 2 cards, obviously I've doubled up. But if you're only creating the 1 card, then you would only need just 1 of each. So it's 2.5 inches by 5 7/8. And then I've added those on to the card fronts. I've cut a sentiment mat from black cardstock at 4 inches by 2.5 inches. But as you go through this video, you might see me doing a few different things because I'm changing my ideas and plans and what I wanted to end up with. So please refer to the instructions to get the exact the exact measurements of what I've used. Or you can just play around with whatever works for you as well. It does not have to be the same as what I have done, but if you want to stick with the similar design, use the measurements in the instructions. So I try and figure out how I want these to look and just layer one on top of each other. Just having the 3 panels there. Keep playing around until you are happy, and once you are happy with that first layer, just adding some double-sided tape or glue to adhere those to the back. It does take me a little while to figure out the way I wanted it to look, and I think I even changed it as I was adhering it. So have a bit of fun with it, play around until you're happy with the design and what works for you. We'll also be using more cardstock to layer on top of those. So while I keep figuring these out, the next photo mats that you will need to cut from your decorative cardstock, you'll need multiples of each from the different papers. So start with 2 and see how you go. So it's 2.5 inches by 2 1/8, 3/4 of an inch by 2.5, 1 1/8 by 3.5 inches, and 1/4 by 2 inches. So these related to the leftover pieces that I had available to me because I've really made the most of the sheet of cardstock that I had. There's minimal wastage from this one, and it also coordinates with the scrapbooking layout that I did with these papers as well. So it's a great way to use up a collection, creating this type of card, making sure that you have all of your papers used. As you can see, I found something that I like better on the other side and changed it a little bit. So I felt that the papers were a little bit busy as I wanted to layer them up on top as well. I've changed them around slightly as I've taped them on. Once you have everything taped on, you can layer up the other mats that we just went through, but please refer to the instructions if you have forgotten the measurements or you weren't cutting them out as I was reading through them. That's why you have the instructions there as well. Cut your sentiment mat from black cardstock at 4 inches by 2.5 inches, and then stamp a sentiment with embossing ink. Don't be like me. Make sure you do remember to use your embossing buddy or anti-static tool so you don't have any extra bits and pieces stuck onto your cardstock like I did. But if you do, don't worry about it. Just make it part of the look, part of the extra extra design of your card. Have fun finishing off these cards. If you wish, add some lines around the mats to help them stand up with some white gel pen, and adhere any embellishments if using with foam tape. Enjoy making the rest of your cards.